We are live. Hello, everybody. How is it going? I thought you went in for a hair flick already.
Yeah, I'll just finish position, getting me ready, you know.
We're a little bit of subtle competition. The two blondes in the office. We're like, you know, we're gonna maintain it.
Yeah.
How is everyone doing? Happy Wednesday. Now, Guy is not here with us today. Guy is actually at home resting. So send him a little get well soon in the comments because I'm sure he's watching. Guy, if you're watching, don't worry, we have not eaten any of the office chocolates. We are saving them for you. But thank you to everyone that's joining us. We're going to kick things off on this live stream today.
Yeah. What? You want to kick it off? Yeah.
We're going to kick it off. We're going to kick off and we're going to cover it while Guy is at home resting up.
Yeah. Although I heard that the reason that he could have been ill was because he may have got into some of the desirable chocolates we got from our...
from our amazing winners.
Exactly.
So maybe we can start with a little bit of a run through because quite a lot has happened in the last week since we joined for a Wednesday live stream. We had the Token 2049 conference in Dubai. We had 2 Coin Bureau Club winners that came out to visit us. They brought some amazing chocolates. So Shirley, if you are watching, thank you. Nick loved them, didn't you?
Oh, you had so many, man. Oh. My chocolate cravings.
Nick is the good one in the office, so Nick has not touched them, but we have eaten enough on his behalf too. And then there was a lot of Token 2049 coverage, so you might have seen some of the interesting content that we'll get into in just a moment. Before that, I want to say hi to some of you guys that are joining us. So we have Cardano Green, always the first one. What's up? Hello, Cardano Green. Happy Wednesday. We also have quite a lot of you here for World Mobile Token, which we will be getting to in just a little bit as one of a few of our top gainers for this week. So thank you for the support, guys. Great to see you all in the comments. We have Cryptologist from Dallas, Texas. We have Thomas, who's early.
From South Wales. Is he a regular?
We have Thomas from South Wales. Guys, I love how many South Wales and Welsh people comment. And I like the challenge sometimes when you do comment in Welsh because it has to remind me of my Welsh language days. But apart from that, it's great to see you all here. Who else have we got? We have got the countdown. People pretty bullish. We've got Nikki saying hello. Excited to be in the live. We are excited to see you too, Nikki. Osmosis the Great says Jessic. That's quite a nice name. Maybe we should mix it up a little.
Your nickname, your new nickname. Hi from Sweden, Olafur Johansson. Yeah.
Johansson.
Yeah.
We have Oxford Road Coach Osmosis. Is that the ick for Jess? Surely not. Interesting. Well, we actually do have an update regarding Osmosis, which we will announce later on in the stream. I'm not going to spoil it all yet. We have quite a few of it in the comments. Jess and Nick are the AI versions of each other.
AI versions of each other. So,
I'll take that as a compliment.
So basically,
because you're a smart guy.
Oh, really? Oh, thank you. Something new. What was that movie? With the Lindsay Lohan movie when she went into her mother's body, and then it was kind of like it's like a Freaky Friday version of you, Guy, and your version.
Yeah. Hello, everybody from Panda Pie. Great to see you, Red Panda Pie. There's loads of you from Bahamas. I can't do it as fast as Guy, but we're going to give it a go anyway.
Nassau.
Maybe you can help.
Nassau, Bahamas.
Nassau. Namaste from India.
Sunit. What is that?
We've got D from North Korea. We knew we'd see one of you from North Korea. We've got hi from Ozzy in Texas. We've got greetings. Hi from Syria. World Mobiling. Vancouver Island, Canada. Greetings from Serbia. From Ohio. Is Nick a carnivore diet kind of a dude?
Not really. I mean, I eat lots of protein, yes, but mostly macro controlled diets.
I've never been on as many live streams and Q&A where people ask about someone's gym routine or diet routine.
I get a lot of those questions, yeah.
We've got Portugal, we've got Lithuania, loads of you guys. Thank you for dropping us a little hello. We appreciate it so much. So let's dive on in with what we're going to talk about today. Should we start with a little recap of Token 2049?
What a week, man. What a week.
How did you find it? How did you find the conference?
I found the conference definitely... It's not as good as the Singapore one from when I went to. It's like, obviously, it was one of the better conferences for sure that I've seen. Been to Dubai. Right? There's been quite a few crypto conferences in Dubai. I think it was definitely one of the best ones so far. But of course, there was a lot of it was overshadowed by, I think the first day, there was a lot that had to be pushed back because of the issues in terms of like the roads were still flooded.
Yeah.
Like for quite a few days afterwards, even up till Friday. Traffic was a bit of a snarl. So it kind of like overshadowed that. But thankfully, on the day, on the Thursday and the Friday, it was blue skies.
Yes.
So, but the conference itself was interesting. A lot of interesting narratives, a lot of great talks, and obviously it's always good to see fans IRL. There were a lot of fans we met. So, yeah, I found it very good. I enjoyed it.
I love walking around these things with Guy because occasionally you'll get some of you amazing CoinView reviewers that will turn around and then do a little bit of a double take because you're seeing Guy for the first time IRL. And it just makes our day, getting to hear from people that have been watching the channel since 2020. I think it's super cool.
Yeah, it's cool. And it's also kind of weird because like, you would think that Guy would be walking around with like all these security guards, like, you know, he's the big influencer around town. But no, he's just like inconspicuously walking around in the crowd, and then everyone's like, "Oh, who's that guy? He looks familiar. Where have I seen him? I've seen him a few times somewhere."
Who's that guy? The crypto guy.
Yeah.
And we did an interview with Paolo Arduino from Tether, which was a pretty interesting one. It was great to talk to him and catch up. That was someone that we've been trying to get for an interview for quite some time, and after the interview he was like, yeah, I'll definitely be down for a longer deep dive chat with you guys. He's
a very cool guy. I also chatted a bit afterwards with Guy, and I mean, I think that it's really inconspicuous as well. Like, you're kind of the kind of person as well, you think crypto billionaire / industry power leader, you'd expect you wouldn't notice him any different in the crowd. So that's cool, unless you knew in crypto and you know crypto. So
yeah,
it's cool to see that. But that was interesting because it wasn't actually you that was meant to.
Yes. So this is a little bit of insider intel that we can give you guys because we had been planning the interview for quite some time. Funny story, because as you guys will have heard, there was chaos because of the floods. Guy was actually the one that was supposed to be interviewing Paolo and having a sit-down conversation. We had gone over the questions maybe a week before, and then the day of the conference.
Very well curated, week before,
but the day before, Guy had kind of revised them and put them on a piece of paper, the biblical piece of paper. And then we'd split up teams because traffic was a nightmare. So me and our amazing camera person, Zara, drove in taxi. You guys had a pretty exciting chauffeur to Tokyo.
Yeah, our chauffeur was a guy in his Toyota. And the reason we did that was because we couldn't find a Uber.
Yeah.
And then we thought, oh, well, how are we going to struggle to get back? And then sometimes you make a spur of the moment decision that you realize that shouldn't have been made in the spur of the moment. You should have put a bit more time and thought into that. And then Guy thought, okay, let's go and take my car and I'll drive there. Okay, maybe something you'd also want to anticipate is like, will there be parking?
Yeah.
So we drive in there and it's cool. We're enjoying it, getting there close. Like, oh, what a good move. All those other guys are waiting for the cabs. They're going to be late. And then Guy obviously drops us off right. Like the just was off there at the entrance. And I'm like, okay, see you, sure.
Yeah.
And then he can't find parking. He can't find parking. And then he's like, he has to drive back to the office. And then we're trying to chase him for the interview questions or whatnot. And then we're like, okay, well, Jess is going to have to jump in. And then eventually she does the interview and Guy drives back to the office to drop off his car and then comes later. So, it was quite surprising that happened.
It was. We got a message saying, I'm driving back to the office to try and find parking. And I was like, And actually the interview went well. It was a really interesting conversation. And we came out and Guy was there. He'd managed to get a taxi over. So it all worked out good and well in the end. We hope you enjoyed the interview. If you haven't watched it yet, I do recommend you going to do so. Yeah. And then also just drop a comment in if there's any other topics that you think we should ask Paolo, because hopefully we will catch up with him again soon.
Yeah.
And there was also, so what were your other highlights of Token and the week? Because it extended over to the weekend. There was quite a lot.
There was a lot of networking stuff. I think that a lot of these conferences, and for most people, and what I've sensed and gathered from being to a few of these conferences, is that most of the alpha and most of the high value conversations take place at the side events. And there were hundreds of side events, like at least 200 or so, right? Yeah. And we went to quite a few of them. There were, and these are the ones where most of the networking is done, the business is done, and you can actually speak to people. Whereas in the conference, it's kind of like a bit of a, there's people moving all the way around. You can't have these conversations, long, in-depth conversations. So it's the side events, which is really important, and trying to decide between them. But yeah, I mean, there were so many of them. There's no way you can attend all of them. Everyone signed up for all of them.
Yeah.
And a lot of them were obviously canceled because of the weather. You moderated a panel on a DePIN one as well.
Yes, I did. And that was a really interesting conversation. I was bullish on DePIN anyway, but actually after seeing so many people that are building on the DePIN ecosystem and also peak the layer one, that was pretty cool to see. So that was a highlight. And also day one, there was the Solana Hacker House, which took place. Yes. It was due to go on for 2 days, but unfortunately the second day had to be called off because of the floods. But that was super interesting. So Solana had the StepIn and Adidas collaboration that was then building on Solana. So there was some cool artwork and some cool graffiti work and also some sneakers. So Solana Hacker House has always seemed to show off the cool side of the crypto space.
Yeah.
So here is what else we're talking to today. Also, thank you for someone that pointed out that the Coin Bureau pillow actually was not straight and it was upsetting their OCD. I saw the comment and we have fixed it. So hopefully your OCD will be all good and well and you can fixate on something else in the backdrop.
Branding is very important. Yeah,
branding is very important. We take our jobs very seriously.
We take the logo very seriously.
So let's jump in with New York Stock Exchange, because the New York Stock Exchange could follow suit of the crypto markets by moving from 5 days a week, 9 to 5 to 24/7 trading.
I don't know, man. How's the boomers going? Like people who go and invest in stocks, you know, your average stock analyst going to handle the notion of waking up in the morning and seeing
Saturday morning,
Saturday morning waking up, being able to trade on Saturday. Oh no, you know, I mean, but to be fair, I think it's not that much of a jump because there's a lot of markets. It's not just crypto that trade 24/7. So FX, bonds, you know, even stock futures trade. So you can usually the pre-market trading. So it's just a matter of it's just a matter of like an old legacy thing with stocks still trading during 9:30 till 4 in most stock exchanges.
Yeah.
So it's a good move to make. And yeah, I think that most markets now do it. So it's a natural progression.
How are they going to take going out on a Friday night, waking up Saturday morning to being liquidated? So, so the startup firm 24 Exchange is seeking SEC approval for round-the-clock exchange trading. And they've also previously had a proposal before, but it was withdrawn because of operational issues. I'm guessing just because of the scale-up that you would need to manage to be able to have an extra 2 days of trading.
Yeah, an extra 2 days and the 24/7 component as well, overnight, right? Because that's how... It'll be interesting to see how it impacts on the markets from a liquidity perspective, how it would drive market microstructure. I think that it'll obviously make the market way more efficient because then, you know, there's the buyers and sellers have been matched during night as well. And there's not these usual jumps you see when stocks open after they're trying to adjust to the futures market. So having this continuous flow, but a highly liquid market, I think it's only going to make more efficient markets. And yeah, I mean, it's going to follow on this in the crypto space. And interesting, I think that in terms of the ETFs as well, probably provide less of this buying that happens on Monday mornings. Usually that comes to the ETF flows when they're trying to adjust the APs and whatnot. They're trying to adjust the amount of Bitcoin in your fund to reflect the prices. So it could probably make those more efficient as well. But yeah, it's really interesting news. I mean, I'm keen to see whether the SEC will approve it. I mean, you know...
They've got a lot of papers on their deck to approve right now, so let's see.
The SEC is too busy on their crusade against crypto to worry about 24/7 trading. Yeah.
Okay, before we go into the IMF and their orange pill change of tune, Red Panda Pie, I noticed the plot pan on the right moved by 1 inch. Can you put it back, please? We absolutely will after the live stream. Guys, if any of you see anything...
What do you mean it's from the previous one?
So the guys were joking that the pillar was off and now they're adjusting a colourful set, which is looking pretty interesting. Okay, so the IMF now, this was an interesting one. So Taylor, who is our editor-in-chief, actually highlighted this when he was in the office last week. Yeah. And me and Guy were like, wow, really? This is the IMF have said this? So the IMF released a paper and report called A Primer on Bitcoin Cross-Border Flows. And in this report, they had made a pretty positive statement about Bitcoin, which was to the surprise of quite a few people. They said that Bitcoin had become a necessary financial tool for preserving wealth amid financial instability.
The world's debt collector, the IMF, the evil debt collector around the world is actually. But to be fair, it's like, I mean, what they've stated is pretty obvious. It's like what they're stating is Bitcoin is a permissionless currency that it transcends borders, that can help people flee capital controls when their monetary systems are collapsing. And they also, I think it was pretty obvious what they were saying. It's just stating the facts of what Bitcoin is. I mean, they can't pull the wool over our eyes anymore. What I did find interesting, though, was they said, of course, there's a positive correlation that we know. I mean, a negative correlation with the price of the dollar and, you know, Bitcoin. But there's also a negative correlation, I mean, a positive correlation with the VIX index, which is basically like a volatility index. Volatility index basically gives an idea of how if there's lots of volatility in the markets in the S&P 500, then you have a spike in the VIX index. And what was interesting, there's the noted that there's obviously a positive correlation between price of Bitcoin and the VIX, at least according to their sources they cited. So this comes back to the question of, is Bitcoin a risk-on or a risk-off asset? And this plays into the narrative that it's a risk-off asset because obviously when there's uncertainty in the stock markets, people want to invest in an asset that gives them protection from the high volatility in stocks. And that's one of the more interesting things I picked up from this paper. But the rest of it is pretty obvious. Like
It just states things like Bitcoin cannot be stopped. People use it in situations when they have decline in the monetary systems, and it helps them subvert capital controls. Which, well done. Well spotted, guys.
There was one interesting thing, though, in the report, and that was that the on-chain Bitcoin transactions tend to be larger than the remittance transactions that are off-chain, indicating obviously the security features that do come with blockchain technology. And also, this is something that we spoke about quite a few times on AMA, but the risk of being debanked or the banks at some point halting any transactions that you do have in motion, and Bitcoin being a no risk of bank intervention, Bitcoin being the solution to that.
Yeah, I know that firsthand. I was debanked. I was debanked about a month ago by my UK bank. Shout out to NatWest, you suckers.
I feel like that would make quite a cool crypto T-shirt. Like, I've been debanked. I mean,
it was a rite of passage. I have been in crypto since 2016, and I never been debanked. And it finally came, and I was like, well, that's my rite of passage, But thankfully, they didn't freeze my funds, because that has happened to a lot of people. And the bank will freeze their funds, and then they have to explain a lot of different things. With me, they basically said, we don't want your business anymore. You got to clear out your account in 3 months. And this bank, I've had this bank account for 12 years.
That's so annoying. That's wild.
Not a single line of credit out there, and everything perfectly maintained. I was in first name basis with my relationship manager over there. And then they did this to me. I was like,
how could they?
Yeah.
See, I had my bank assets frozen when it was during COVID, working for Bitpanda Exchange. So as an employed full contract pay 2021, and they just halted the salary, so they couldn't get my salary through. There was no other banks open IRL in Malta at the time, so trying to get a new bank account opened was a nightmare. 3 months, no salary, guys. I was living off bread and water.
So what was their excuse? Was it because it coming from an exchange?
Yeah, and I even got Bitpanda, and they were very helpful, actually. Shout out to the Bitpanda team, great employers, but they'd even written out some kind of outlines of, this is an employee, this is their salary, she's a media specialist. And no, they didn't want anything. They said, you can buy our custodial Bitcoin. Apart from that, nothing to do with crypto.
Yeah. And one more fun fact, actually, do you know part of the reason why we kind of moved to Dubai? One of the stimulating factors was also one of our UK banks, when it used to be a company in the UK, also debanked us. They basically told us, no, we don't want your business, which is crazy because all we are is like a media company. We don't take crypto per se. We don't take people's crypto. We're not an exchange. We're not a crypto service provider. But just because we educate and talk about crypto, they decided that we weren't good enough for them.
Yeah.
And they decided to debank us. Thankfully, at that, we'd known that this is a possibility in the crypto space all the time, and we had a backup bank account. But I mean, this is always reinforces for me why crypto is so important, is like, because there are so many people who can't even get a bank account.
Yes. And
it's also the point around you feel as, helpless you feel. Because in that situation, I can't do anything what my bank wants to do anything. You couldn't necessarily, if they'd frozen, any of our banks decide to freeze our bank accounts for whatever reason, can't do much.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, they control the bank accounts, they own it, and they answer to nobody. So,
And it's the biggest conversion, I think, for people that find crypto because they've been debanked or deplatformed. So we're here for it. Now, this live stream was a special one also because this is the first live stream after the halving.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. Yeah.
So happy halving, guys.
What were you doing during the halving?
I was fast asleep because I was exhausted. And in my mind, I really wanted to go to one of the
watching a live stream. You weren't with your crypto friends watching it down, counting down like a New Year's celebration to 840,000. No, you weren't doing that?
I did want to go out with some of my crypto friends just to offload from the week, but I was too tired. We packed it in. We'd had team networking and building, we'd had work networking, we'd had filming.
It was to be fair, it was probably like 4 a.m. on a Dubai time.
Did you push the tweet out, or was it scheduled?
No, it was I think it was scheduled. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so you were asleep too?
Yeah, I was asleep. 4 a.m. on a Saturday morning, and I know I'm an early bird, but that's a bit too much. But I mean, most people were asleep. I actually pushed a poll in the Coin Bureau Discord, asking people what they were doing, and the majority were asleep, which is interesting because I mean it's global, so I assume that. So yeah, but not many people were watching live streams or at crypto parties celebrating the halving.
Yeah, I feel like it's always one of those kind of anticlimactic events. I think one of the best things about the halving really is that TradFi media and normie media suddenly reach out and say, hey, let's talk about the halving. Let's do a little interview. And then, so actually TRT, well, yesterday invited Coin Bureau to come on and speak about what is the halving? Can you explain Bitcoin mining? And I always jump at these opportunities because I think it's great to be able to shill crypto to normies and hopefully bring them on and get them as a new subscriber for the Bureau.
Mass adoption, one live stream at a time, one video at a time.
And Turkey is a really big market for crypto, so they should have a pretty big conversion. And when everyone's wondering, okay, like, why is the halving such a big thing? So just for some context, after the 2012, 2016, and 2020 halvings, Bitcoin's price surged 93x for 2012, 30x for 2016, and 8x for 2020. So who knows what's going to happen this one?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard sometimes. I know we've talked about this quite a few times on the live stream and on the Q&A as well, as like, how would this halving react given that we've got these past halvings? But I guess there's also questions around those past halvings happened at particular times when there was unique variables which drove prices crazy. I mean, around 2020, for instance, the most recent one, pandemic, right? So it's hard to necessarily ascertain and explain, okay, this rally was as a result of the halving, and how much of it was people being locked down, mass stimulus from monetary and fiscal with the stimmy checks, and people at home trading, how much of it was driven by that and how much of it was the halving. Obviously, this year and this halving cycle, there's a lot of other factors at play as well. So whether
but this was just an anomaly in general, because this was the first time we've seen a Red Panda Pies put Red Pandemic. I knew some of you guys were going to make me giggle in the comments with he's just put Red Pandemic because his name is Red Panda Pie.
Okay.
I'm a cheap laugh. I thought it was funny. Because this was the first all-time high that we've seen pre-halving.
Yeah, exactly. Left translated, people viewing it potentially as a left translator. What's going on? First time. Yeah, I mean, do you think we'll break through the all-time high again soon? I mean, we're now at what, 60? Soon.
Well, typically there's the saying, sell in May, go away.
Yeah, which some people are wondering about.
Which is why I always try and plan my hikes for May, because markets are supposed to be quiet. But then this year is always the unexpected. I didn't expect markets to hit all-time highs pre-halving. If you asked me in November.
Yeah, I didn't expect it. I mean, I think that it's just the ETF changed a lot of things. But now the market needs a new narrative. Now the market needs new catalysts. What catalysts are there out there to drive Bitcoin above its all-time high again?
Could it be a boom in the Bitcoin network? Because one of the interesting things that did happen this week was we did see a spike in Bitcoin network fees, a surge in transaction fees within the Bitcoin network, more than 7 times the fee level that we saw prior to the halving. And that was something that caught a lot of people off guard. And that was because the surge in like Rune Protocol, for example, with the creation of meme coins on Bitcoin, that was something that got a lot of hype around the halving period. So that was a lot of activity and transactions.
Yeah, massive amounts. I mean, for the first 840,000th block, people paid something like $2.4 million in fees to be included in that block because of this, because of the steam of being in the first block for the Runes protocol. And that's obviously what's driving a lot of this and the massive spike in transaction fees. But it seems to have died down a lot now.
Can we just take a moment of silence for the husbands in the world and the wives? And he's like, honey, I just spent this much because don't worry, babe, I'm going to be on the first block post-halving.
I'm staying up till 4 a.m. to spend this amount. To go and mint a rune.
You'd be like, you think you know someone, and then they spring this on you?
Man.
Crazy. So Bitcoin transaction fees have actually surpassed Ethereum's fees for 6 consecutive days from the 15th of April to the 20th of April, which is pretty wild, just for some context. And then we've got Messari report has also emphasized the rising of on-chain activity with the likes of layer 2 solutions on Bitcoin that really are not just a luxury, but a necessity, and adding a new development from not just Bitcoin as digital gold, but a real utility that can kind of keep the network running.
Digital oil transitioning from digital gold to actual utility of digital oil. And it's actually good for the miners as well, because
it's great for the miners.
Because obviously, if you're the miners and you get $2.4 million in fees on the first block, obviously it's come down substantially. But generally, these halving events are a lot of concern around what's it going to do to miner financials. So, for example, prior to the halving, the average cost of producing a Bitcoin was about 29.5K. Obviously, after the halving, your block, it goes up a lot. So it's like 53K break-even point. So, it's obviously a question around what it's going to do to miner profitability, but hopefully this new narrative and the more excitement and use case for the Bitcoin network is going to drive fee demand for the fee market, which is then going to supplement, obviously, or complement the loss in the block reward that these miners are going to go through, have gone through, and will go through into the future as we approach the ultimate limit, where block rewards are no more, and they will have to rely on fees entirely.
Aren't we all going to be dead then?
I know.
Sorry.
I know.
Or are you working on a real longevity life
to
goal?
me, what are you? Well, what about your great grandkids who want to, use Bitcoin, and you've left them Bitcoin for their 18th birthday, and then they discover that it's,
I actually bought my goddaughter some Bitcoin. Because she got christened when she was 6 years old. And I was like, what can I get a 6-year-old? Because also kids have everything nowadays. So I've got her a little bit of Bitcoin. And I've actually put it on a ballet wallet. Ballet or ballot with Bobby Lee.
Bobby Lee, okay.
Because it's physical, it's tangible, so you can hold it. It's a gold card. So it's easy for normies to onboard in. So when you're 18, you can unlock it.
So but she's putting it in a safe place. Her mom's putting it in a safe place. Or
I hope so.
I mean, that's not one thing you want to lose, right? Like,
or she'll end up one of those kids like, I had $500 worth of Bitcoin in 2018, and now
$500 you give. $500 was booked in 20. This was in 2018.
Mm.
Oh, okay. Wow.
I'm a good godmother. There's a little bit of competition in the friend group. Like, you want to make sure that she's made the right choice. So, like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
But also, this was an interesting one, and you'll probably be able to mull into this more from market sentiment on Twitter, for example, with the Bitcoin halving, is it seemed like there wasn't so much talk about it on crypto Twitter, and the real hype came on the Bitcoin network.
Sorry, say again, the Bitcoin?
Like the Bitcoin halving, there wasn't so many tweets about it. There wasn't as much hype kind of online. It was more like the Bitcoin network was seeing, for example, like runes were taking off. There
wasn't as much in previous halving cycles. I think many people had expected it was like an event was known. I don't think anyone really expected fireworks. I mean, it was, it's like what most things in the markets, if you expect, and if all market participants are expecting an event, a pre-planned event that was known is going to be on the stage, it's the novelty of it. It's great. It's kind of like, the community comes together. This is celebrated, but it's not like people thought, wow, markets are going to fly. The notion and the theory behind halving cycles is that generally it takes some time from a demand and supply perspective for the reduced supply to actually work its way through, such that the price will have to adjust later on. So it's usually, we're talking 16 or so months after the halving, you're going to actually start seeing the impact on price. So the immediate impact was nothing, but it's still good as a community to celebrate these events, every 4 years.
Isn't it a reduction from 900 BTC per day to 450?
Yeah, exactly.
So over time, over 1 year, for example, that's a pretty...
Yeah, exactly. So on a daily basis, it means nothing. But I think I shared something on Twitter a few days ago. If you look at it in terms of the cumulative, so over a year, like you'll see the impact, the difference in terms of Bitcoin that's hit that's been mined, and in the emission over a year compared to where it would have been if you kept the previous block rewards is quite substantial. And that's all, that has an impact from a supply demand perspective. So yeah, you're not going to see the impact right now. And I think that most market participants, everyone knew as we go into this market, we've already had the previous all-time high that we'd broken through. Whereas right now it's kind of like people are looking for the next, like I say, catalyst narrative to drive the markets.
Yeah.
The halving is come and gone. Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun. We have a few people that have joined the live stream as well. Some are asking where Guy is. Guy is not feeling very well today, so we're sending him a get well soon. Feel free to drop a get well soon in the comment for Guy, because I'm sure he will be watching. Yeah. I hope he's watching. Maybe he just doesn't care about us. Now he's like, oh, thank God, I can't wait to not hear the voice of these two.
That excuse worked, suckers.
We have All Roads. Interesting choice of username for the question of Dubai flooding was crazy, because the roads were all flooded.
Yeah, it was. Well, look, at the end of the day, obviously lots of people saw the pictures and saw the videos and everything, and look, it was crazy, but it was a once in a century kind of event.
Yeah,
they only started to take account of measuring these climate events 75 years ago, and in that entire 75-year period, there had not been as much rain as there had been in those 2-day period. Even was it mostly just a day, actually.
Yeah, it just happened to be the day that we were hosting a small side event for some of the builders in the space. There was quite a few. You guys were going to be speaking on a panel.
Yeah,
it was the one day that we decided that we're going to be, outside the office talking with people IRL was the day it happened.
Yeah, that's
you couldn't write it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, at least tokens still went on. There was like the impact for a lot of people who were flying in, and the disruption to flights. was quite substantial. But like I say, people telling me, and there's lots. I saw a lot of talk on Twitter about it and like FUD about it. But if it's a once in a century kind of event, if anywhere in a city that's built for a certain type of climate, you have a once in a century kind of event. Like if it snows in the UK, if you get more than 2 inches of snow in the UK.
I used to live a 1 minute walk to school, and I would call in sick on a snow day to go play in the snow.
Did it snow often in South Wales?
No, like once every 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. No.
And then I moved to Latvia, and I told my Latvian friends, like, oh yeah, if there was an inch of snow that melted by lunchtime, I would not go in. They were like, if it gets to minus 35 degrees Celsius, then the schools are closed. So I was like, hoo-hoo.
No, but it's true. Like cities are built for the climate they're in, and it also, like last year or 2 years ago or something, or when there was a massive heat wave in Europe, because most houses are not developed where they don't have air cons.
Oh, I was in London then. London, a heat wave. Oh god.
Apartments in London that aren't, because they're old buildings and stuff, they can't cope with it. Like I was also there in June last year for our CoinBureau Live event. It was like terrible. So yeah, I mean, it's at the end of the day, in Dubai in the summer, everything's aircon. So yeah, our point of the matter is every country and every place that's going to have an extreme weather event is going to struggle when it's outside of the norm. That's all. Variance and volatility in climate just as much as there is in crypto.
Okay, so next topic is we're going to dive into the Hedera price surge. If you go on the top gainers on CoinMarketCap, maybe I can open them up and we can look through some of the top gainers before we dive into what is pumping and why. So top gainers for the week, we have Hedera up 70%. Then it's a meme coin frenzy. We've got Bonk 98%, Dog with Hat. Were you tempted to go to Arthur Hayes' Dog with Hat party last?
Slightly tempted, but then after hearing how the previous one in Singapore was shut down by the cops, I was like, I don't know. It was maybe not. Yeah, it seems to have been very busy, know. And I was like, I'm not going to go and fight to get in there now.
Axie Infinity, Flow, IOTA.
IOTA's still alive. Cool.
Interesting. IOTA's still rocking strong. Singularity Net. We've also got so Chili's is on there
too.
Cool.
Chili's.
Fetch AI is on there.
Cool. I met someone from the Thor Swap team at Token.
Yes.
Yeah, was asking me, when are we going to cover Thor Chain? Because it's kind of like one of those altcoins that fits. It's just between, because on the club we usually cover small to mid cap altcoins. Yeah. And on the main channel, we've only really covered mainly big altcoins. And this Thor Chain is like one of those which sits at mid cap kind of level. That is a great project. It's really interesting, and we've been fans of it in the past. And it's like, should we cover it? I think we should start looking a bit more down the list at other altcoins.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you guys aren't in the CoinBureau Discord yet, do make sure to go. We'll get a little bit more into it in a second, but we do AMAs with different project founders as well, which is a great way for you to get to touch base and ask some questions directly if you are a CoinBureau Club member. And we're constantly looking for new people to speak to. So I put a tweet out 2 days ago asking for projects that we can have on, and we're always keen to hear your feedback. So if there's a project that you're watching that you've been holding that you want us to deep dive into and invite on the AMA, let us know.
And the cool thing is these AMAs, like I said, these questions are community questions. So CoinBureau Club community can ask these questions and then we field them. It's a completely impartial platform for you guys to ask what you want of any sort of project without fear or favor. And so far we've had some really cool AMA guests.
Yeah.
Sui, Peak.
Yeah, Sui, Peak, Chili's, Mantle. We've had Babylon, which is one that's coming soon, and so there's quite a few that have pumped a lot since the AMAs have taken place as well, just because of the market conditions right now. So it's an interesting time. We have one coming up later this evening, which we'll share more with you in a bit. But let's talk Hedera because it is a top gainer on the week. So let's talk about why Hedera is pumping. So Hedera Foundation X post came out, which was talking about BlackRock and a money market fund that was tokenized on Hedera. And it led to a huge jump, as you guys can see, a huge, massive. I think at the kind of the peak of the pump, it was 96% surge in price, which is just pretty.
I woke up, I saw that, I was like, okay, what the hell is going on here? Are those crazy Korean degens buying again? Some listing on Upbit or something?
What is Upbit doing?
What's going on here?
So just to clarify what we have seen, so as we mentioned, the HBAR Foundation X post suggested that BlackRock had involvement in the move. But just to clarify for everyone that is watching, that's wondering what's going on, it's actually between Arcax and Onera who will be tokenizing the fund. Yeah.
So it's basically, for clarification, so they're going to tokenize a fund on BlackRock, but it's not really a partnership per se, which I saw some of the memes. It's like, oh, okay, now BlackRock's choosing Hedera over Ethereum, which isn't really the case. It's because It's just there's one fund that's been tokenized on this platform, or RChex or Onera. But crypto just loves a good story and a good announcement, and we've been through many of those in the past, right?
We have. So we were talking about this off air.
Yeah.
We were like, we've had a few of these situations before where there is some form of kind of partnership or collaboration tweet that people will just kind of skim read and then run with it, and then that's kind of a snowball effect. And we had a blast in the past. I think we were both 2017 IOTA holders.
Yeah, I remember that stuff, yeah.
And IOTA had a partnership to some extent with Volkswagen where they would be using some of the IoT technology.
Partnership, yeah.
And IOTA just absolutely flew, and everyone was like, oh my God, IOTA is going to be used in every single car. This is going to be huge. And IOTA pumped to, I think, like $4 something from 20 cents in the course of maybe like 3 months.
But then didn't they come out and clarify, VW come out and clarify this isn't actually the case? Or
yeah, they were integrating some of the technology or working with them to try and find out something. I was having a little look through the news reports, but it's quite hard to find from 2018 the FUD stories that have been
2018.
corrected.
Yeah, 2018 cycle had a lot of these. Also, I think some of the V-chain, there was also an announcement of some sort of the community ran with it more. At the end of the day, it's the community that runs with it more than the project. But obviously, if you make an announcement of some description, then the community is going to love it. There was also, if I recall, the 2017 cycle, a month ago, I was telling you about them as well.
Oh yes, yeah.
They were in Ethereum L2, and they basically there was a McDonald's Thailand announcement. Right? And he posted a picture of himself in a McDonald's Thailand, and everyone assumed there was like a partnership with the global McDonald's and all this kind of stuff. And remember also in those days, the 2017, 2018 cycle, there was the meme of, the announcement of an announcement. So
yes, or the source as in sources, but spelt sauce like ketchup sauce. And it was like sources say something completely.
Yeah.
Unethical.
Tomorrow we'll be announcing that there will be an announcement that the announcement will come next week. A very important announcement will then be presented to you.
And comment announcement down below if you want a DM of the announcement before the announcement comes face. Okay, so now let's talk about, we've mentioned some of the top gainers. So one of the things that we did want to talk about as well is the DePIN narrative. You mentioned there was a DePIN mini conference last week that took place in Dubai, and that was in the afternoon on Thursday, hosted by Peak, who was one of the companies that we've had on the AMA, I think 2 weeks ago. And that was really interesting. So Peak was on the panel. There was also Silencio, which is a DePIN project, which is talking about noise pollution and how to scale that. So that's an interesting one, which is coming soon.
Noise pollution?
Yeah.
What do you mean? So
don't ask me to clarify. Nick, it was a long week, okay?
That's crazy. I'm going to deep dive that, some DYR there.
And actually, they had a physical booth within the DePIN conference, and they were monitoring and earning points for the noise pollution.
At a crypto conference, I'm pretty certain there was a shitload of
noise.
Of noise pollution.
Yeah, 100%. But we will let us know if it's something that you've heard of before or if it's something that you would like to hear more about. But I kind of gave a little gauge around the room, and I said, guys, there's probably like 250 people there. How many of you guys are investing in DePIN? And I would say 80% put their hands up.
Yeah, DePIN is one of the most exciting narratives of the cycle for sure. VCs are also going crazy for DePIN. There's been like at least more than $1 billion or so invested in terms of capital in DePIN. This is even back in the beginning of the year, remember with the Masari report. And I think the reason DePIN is such an exciting narrative is because it's one of those few that is actually bringing the real world utility of blockchain to people's lives. Yeah. Whereas a lot of it is just like DeFi, crypto is money, it's finances. Yes, finances is very important because it's important for financial freedom and all that kind of stuff. But to actually utilize blockchain technology and financial incentives from token economics within a physical infrastructure and within things we use all the time, like World Mobile or Helium on the mobile network side. Peak is a layer 1, Hive Mapper, and Atlas Navi trying to map streets. And then also on the decentralized storage or decentralized compute, especially with the AI and the importance of AI and a decentralized AI that isn't controlled in data centers. So there's just so much excitement around this narrative because literally it is, we talk about mass adoption of blockchain and cryptocurrency. This is one of the narratives that really can do it because it's within people's lives all the time. So yeah.
And so World Mobile is pumping this week, and I can see quite a few of you in the comments that are asking for us to deep dive into what has happened and potentially why it's pumping. So first of all, we had a Coin Bureau Club review of World Mobile that went live last week.
think it was 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. So if you are watching World Mobile and you do want to gauge into that, you can watch, I think it's about a 30-minute video. Guy and our head of research do a pretty significant deep dive into the project and their roadmap. But I spoke to some of the team and asked them kind of, hey guys, what's going on? Why are we seeing such a surge in updates? So there's a community update coming. So expect some alpha on partners early May. There's also the sharing economy and network is growing with 3 more nodes that have been updated in Zanzibar. So that's from the World Mobile's Twitter. And I think that's one interesting thing to talk about is we have acknowledged that DePIN is a new trending narrative, but actually when you're able to analyze the the execution of DePIN projects, you can actually see the tangible use cases that have been executed that people can see in real life. And I think that's quite a good way for you to validate if something is of interest or the team is kind of working in a progressful way.
Yeah, exactly. Like noting update on their roadmap if they're actually meeting these things and pushing it out. And I think that World Mobile definitely in terms of in Zanzibar, you said they 3 more nodes.
3 more nodes, yeah. And actually, as a little fun fact, so I was in Zanzibar in 2022, and I've interviewed Mickey, who's the CEO of World Mobile, a few times. And while I was in Zanzibar, he said RJ, who was their community manager for the region, was actually hosting via the World Mobile network, and this is in 2022, a Fulham football game because World Mobile sponsored Fulham Football Club in 2022, streaming it into an event venue in Zanzibar that typically did not have internet access, and was like, you should come along, you should come and see it.
That's cool, man. Yeah, that's so cool.
Isn't it? Because this is like real people that are in a town that are doing something they would not have been able to do without this technology, and I couldn't make it. I had a flight that I had to catch, but I do remember at the time thinking, oh, that's really cool. And it's really cool that people now, because the DePIN narrative has taken off, are really being able to kind of give a little hats off and give it some recognition.
They got that cool slogan.
You love the slogan.
I love that slogan. Yeah. How does it go? It's like you can't bank the unbanked unless you connect the unconnected.
I have a feeling
I love
like
that. So good, Brandon.
Every morning after you've done your gym work routine, you look in the mirror and you're like, you guys, you can't do this without doing this.
Yeah, you can't onboard the next 1 million people into crypto unless you educate them through crypto videos and YouTube.
There we go. We might have
we're on a quest.
Sister slogan.
We're on a quest, yeah.
So yeah, we are looking to have Mickey and the World Mobile team on for a Discord AMA. We're also speaking to Hive Mapper to get them on board for a Discord AMA too, because while we're on the topic of DePIN, guys, it would just be wrong to not invite everyone. So we're reaching out to as many projects as possible, and we are taking suggestions. So make sure to drop any suggestions.
We covered Hive Mapper in the club. We covered Atlas Navi 3 weeks ago.
You covered Honey in the club.
We covered Honey?
Oh, we are covering Honey.
No, we didn't. I don't think we covered it. We covered Atlas Navi, but you were the one who I think first brought Hive Mapper to our radars back in the day. You were the one who brought it onto the radar, you know. And it's done very well since. I think, did Guy pick up some Honey?
Hive Mapper, Honey.
Oh, is it? Okay, cool. Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know then. But I'm keen to watch it then. But Atlas Navi's potentially, because Honey's done quite well, right, over the past 2-3 months, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, it depends on what you want. Obviously, it's a solid play. What did you say in terms of earlier? You were saying they've already...
Oh, okay, let me open this email because the team emailed me this morning, and I love to get these little fun facts and then be able to, fresh from the team directly. Let's open this up. I'd love to give, so they'll give us an update of Hive Mapper's progress, which we'll share with you guys on a little run through. The team is now mapped, this is Hive Mapper Honey, has now mapped 18% of the global roads, 18% of the global roads.
That is crazy.
Isn't that wild?
For a new crypto project, for like 18%. Like, think about how many, obviously many roads there are. So that's why I think Honey's obviously as a good play, obviously, if you want to get into the decentralized community mapping play. But then obviously Atlas Navi is a much smaller market cap, it's smaller project. So if you're talking about beta, a higher beta play, Atlas Navi could be one. So they'll both be on the Coinbase Club. So yeah, it's a really exciting play and DePIN.
Yeah. And I have a theory, and my theory is it's the kind of Chili's ecosystem 2021. It was like a narrative that you can explain to non-crypto people. And I think DePIN is the narrative you can explain it to non-crypto people that just makes sense. So we're super excited to dive in a little bit more. Guys, thank you for some of the comments with some suggestions for who else we should reach out to. I will keep a record of them and start reaching out after the call.
Best way to onboard normies, park your Lambo outside. That's good.
That is a good one. And I did see one comment earlier saying that Guy is actually shopping for his Lamborghini today, and that's why he can't make the call.
He needs a Lamborghini so that he can put his Hive Map webcam, a dryer,
That's
dash
probably
cam,
what he's doing. He's probably watched the video of Honey that is coming soon, and then he's driving around just getting all of his Honey tokens in his, what color Lamborghini would Guy drive? I think like a green one, maybe blue.
He's a green thumb guy. He's a god. He loves his gardening. He loves he's a green thumb, so he'll get a light alien green Lamborghini. I think that would suit Guy well.
So that is pretty much everything. We do have one other announcement, which is this evening at 7 p.m. Dubai time, which is 5 p.m. CET. We do have our next Discord AMA with Arkham, which is the data analytics company that really monitors on-chain data. So they have some pretty interesting reports that have come out recently. Top governments that are holding crypto. And some of the top crypto wallets, which I was actually really surprised at. The top 5 crypto individual holders, 2 of those have lost their seed phrase.
Yeah, that's crazy. Huh?
Isn't that so frustrating?
Including that's the guy who lost the Ethereum when he invested in Ethereum ICO. Yeah. And he's a bank CEO.
Ryan Lomas, from Estonia.
He invested in the Ethereum ICO. How much did he invest in? 70,000, 73,000, something like that in the ICO. But if you think about how cheap it was in the ICO, and it's worth 450 million, and he lost his keys. So
I like the abbreviate Millie.
Millie, just make a milli, man. That's it. I got it. Yeah. So it's just shocking, man. Imagine. But I mean, to be fair, I think he's probably doing okay. Yeah, he's probably doing okay. He's a bank CEO. He's got lots of shares. And
Estonia is a cheap place to live. As a fellow Baltic living person, I can. Justin Sun was number 1, and Justin Sun just today has bought 15,000 more Ethereum.
He was number 1 in terms of his top holding wallet.
Yeah.
Individual or institution?
Individual. 1.1 billion. And that did not include the 15,000 Ethereum he bought today. So don't mess with that guy.
Yeah, Justin Sun, the crypto Chad.
So guys, for the last little bit of the segment, this is something we were really excited to do as a little sprinkle, a little bit of an extra insight. For those of you that did not make it to Dubai last week, and you just want to experience the full craziness of what we experienced. And actually, we didn't experience all of this. This is also Crypto Twitter helping showing us what was going on. We actually have some of the most, what would you call it? Most market top.
Market top indicators from the token 2049, or like crazy conspicuous consumption. The conspicuous crypto consumption. Such
a way with words. So let's start with, I think we should start with this one. We have got token 2049, Hezbollah. Hezbollah.
Hezbollah. The legend himself. That's actually a nice restaurant, Ling Ling. Yeah. So he was at Hezbollah came here, and he was at an event, and he was at token 2049. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. And
there was crypto llamas. I'm not sure if they were powered by DeFi Llama or if they were just walking around, but there was llamas at the conference and a camel. So, people going around having a little
exotic animals in Dubai, typical.
Yeah, so having a little scroll so you can see the conference through the eyes of Hezbollah. I was surprised to see him there.
Was he promoting a crypto project?
He's got his own Hezbollah metaverse thing going on.
Okay, cool. Makes sense.
And what else do we have that happened this week? We had... so Berachain was one of the talks of the town recently for having a pretty big raise. Was it 1.5 billion?
They raised at they raised 100 million at a 1.5 billion valuation. Massive. It was so much excitement for this project. I talked about it last week as well, and everyone's been speaking about this particular launch. They haven't released a token yet, but they were all over token 2049 for sure.
Yeah, and they have lit up the Dubai sky with a drone show, which is pretty. Bull market,
They were pretty bull market, and Dubai has a lot of these drone shows, and they weren't the only drone show. There was one I think I saw for an entire Bonk logo drone show, which is crazy. But these drone shows are pretty spectacular, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a Dubai thing. Taylor, who's our editor-in-chief, lives in Portugal and was like, wait, someone controls these? This happens all... And we're like, yeah, it happens all the time. If you live here, you get really used to it. We're like, yeah, it's nothing new. And he was like, wait, what?
The only places I've seen drone shows are probably Dubai and Singapore.
Okay, this one has to get a shout out. There is Wolf of Wall Street, Scott Melker. I didn't actually get to see Scott at Token, which I'm pretty sad at because we've been doing live streams for a while and he would have been cool to see IRL. But he tweeted out, currently watching Mario interview Miss World about Web3. Crypto is such an incredible space. Yeah. Absolutely, it is.
It is, yeah. Some of the commentary around that, though, was like, why is she so tall? She shouldn't sit up so straight. And like, guys, geez.
It's Miss World. She's a stunning woman.
It's Miss World. Come on, guys. Yeah.
And she's she's at least politely listening to Web3, which is, it's got to count for something.
Massive option. It wasn't, and she wasn't only, there was more than one.
Yes, I actually got an email through the week before that I shared with you guys saying like, we are hosting so many crypto yacht events and some of those will be with Miss World, Miss Monaco and Miss Asia, yes. You remember that one? I was I think some of the team members should go. So that
there was a lot of yacht parties that I was invited to be fair.
There
were quite a few. There was at least many, like at least 6 or 7 or more, but to be honest, the only problem with here's another piece of alpha for you if you're in crypto. It's like, and you go into these conferences, yacht parties and yacht events sound good in theory, but remember, you're there for the entire part of it. You have to be there for 3-4 hours that they're out.
No, I have a taxi number of a taxi boat that can come and get you if you're like SOS.
Yeah, okay, but it's kind of like, okay, then everyone's like, oh, okay, what's going on? And then you say, bye-bye, guys, is there anything that says I hate your event more than I'm actually ordering a water taxi to pick me up, like a guy on a jet ski to save me from this?
You could swim back. That would also be a pretty bold move. Then we also have the Barasti Beach Club Polka Dot event, which was also DJ'd by Afrojack. That's pretty cool. Yeah, that is pretty cool.
I saw him advertising on Twitter before, and Polka Dot's doing their part and spending a lot of marketing and spend, and they're trying to get normies on board. Afrojack, he's a good DJ. I like his songs. Yeah.
I wonder if he accepted Polka Dot tokens, if he took DOT, or if he was like, oh, guys, pay me in actual money.
I'm pretty certain. Look, I'm not speculating, but I mean, I'd say probably just wanted his money broken in my bags. I mean, it's like, it was cool. Did you attend that, or did you see any feedback from it?
I did not attend that. I was actually a hermit post events. It's hard going, guys. There was also a K-pop event.
The BitGet K-pop event, yes.
Oh, it was BitGet. I wasn't sure who was hosting, so BitGet was hosting the K-pop. Guy loves K-pop.
Guy does love his K-pop. Guy loves his K-pop, and he loves his karaoke. So I mean, he would have gone and sang along. I mean, why? That's probably where Guy was that night. He was MIA.
His voice today is tired from singing so much K-pop. Yeah. He's going to come in tomorrow morning and be like, guys, you were horrible on me on the live stream. We love you so much, really.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is everything for today. Oh, we also have Red Panda Pie saying, shout out to Crypto Sita, who was covering Bear Chain for a long time too.
Yeah. He also invested in them. Lucky guy.
Lucky guy. You look like he also invested.
Lucky guy. Sito's got a strategy. He's the guy's master because he basically he obviously also runs Cosmoverse, which is a very big events. They run a lot of events specifically for the Cosmos ecosystem, and they had the Cosmos Dubai, Atom Dubai, which had to be cancelled unfortunately because of the weather.
Yeah.
But they also have this massive Cosmoverse event coming in October, and we're also working with them on that as well. But anyways, Casito, obviously, he knows a lot of these founders in the early stages because he going to these events. I think that also the other alpha is like go and try these events during the bear market.
Yes.
Yeah, that's where you get
you can snap.
And there's obviously valuations are much lower, and you're speaking to the real builders that are around in general, not just events particularly, but just generally during bear markets. The projects that are there in the trenches doing their stuff and building. Those are the ones that really pop off in the bull cycle, because when the bull market is going crazy, then everyone's throwing money everywhere. VCs are flash with cash.
Yeah.
They
don't have time for small allocations. All systems go.
Yeah.
So guys, this is our first live stream, our first Wednesday live stream, us two. Yeah. Thank you so much for everyone for watching and for sticking with us. And thank you for the get well soon wishes for Guy. We will pass them on to him and hopefully he'll be back in the studio with us tomorrow. But thank you for all joining. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for some of the suggestions of projects that we need to speak to. And if we are going to see you in an hour and a half on the Coin Bureau Discord for the AMA, we will see you there. Don't forget to submit your questions.
Yeah, it's great, man. Fun times, Jess. Yeah. Anytime, Guy, you need us, we'll pop in.
We don't mind at all. Bye, guys.
Cheers, guys.